Welcome friends. Today we will see about logical data recovery training, chapter 2, hard disk data recovery, common problems with the fault. Common problems means what? There are different problems in the hard disk due to for data recovery we have to use the different problems in the data recovery. That may be a firmware issues, PCB issues, physical. In this condition we will see these things. Okay. Next. There are different problems in the hard disk due to the human error, maybe software malfunction, hardware failure, natural disasters, ransomware virus, or any firmware damage. So these are the basically different problems which we see in the data recovery. Before going to identify the problems, we have to understand what is an MBR, what is a GPT. Some hard disks have an MBR partition, master boot record partition, which support up to 2 TB. Up to 2 TB hard disk MBR will work, but more than 2 TB then we have to extend for the GPT partition. The MBR is a master boot record which is on the starting of the platter. MBR has a maximum 4 partition and 3 extendable, but the GPT has many more partitions are there. When we address the blocks like this, the starting the 0 block is for MBR. This is your MBR 512. First 512 bytes is for master boot record, and another partition 1, partition 2, partition 3 and partition 4 detail. So first MBR will be this, and another C drive may be there, D drive may be there, E drive may be there, or F drive may be there. So MBR is a master boot record which has all the informations about the partitions, partition 1, partition 2, partition 3, partition 3. If you are using a GPT partition, then is a primary MBR, and then the GPT informations about the partitions are here. If this file is corrupt and this is bad sectors, then you will not see the partition. Data is there, but the partition will not show. If this portions is damaged, partition table, then its files will not shown. So these are the software based problem. So what is an MBR? Master boot record. Another is a GPT partition. That is a primary, and its backup is here also. So this is your type of partition, MBR and GPT in the new hard disk. So there are different type of problems. That is, one is a logical problems, that is a software based problems, human errors due to format, MBR, partition deleted, and all those problems you can recover with the help of a logical software based recovery. If you connect the hard disk and in a device manager it is showing the hard disk, but the data is not shown, it is normally problems related to logical problems. That is logical related problems that we can recover with a software. Many engineers can do this process very easily. He can use any software whatever he want, depend on the work, he can use the different softwares and recover the data if it is not overwrite, or if the card is not formatted in the camera, and if new hard disk SMR drive is not formatted, zero fill, then the data will recover easily. But if sometime if there is a more 1 TB hard disk, and if he has formatted all this data and he is again written the data, then this data will not come and remaining this data can become like that. So it is a logical recovery that is very easy. Many technicians are doing this work very easy. Another condition is a physical condition, physical problems. In these physical problems we mention two type of problems. One is an electronic, means PCB related problem, if PCB damage or burn or anything. Mechanical failures means inside there is a problem, head damage, scratches, or motor is not working, these are the physical damage. Next, third is a firmware corruption. Firmware corruption is, it cannot be detect. The hard disk will not detect in the BIOS, or maybe wrong size or not initialized, SIM error. These all are the firmware related problems. That is an internal ROM damage or something, bad setters in the service area you can do. And one nowadays new problems coming, that is a ransomware virus. Hacker hack the encrypt and hack the systems and encrypt the user file and demand for the money. Some files can be recovered and some may be not recovered. The data recovery, this is also one type of recovery, but this is from the virus recovery. This is firmware recovery, this is physical recovery, and this is software based recovery. So we are mentioned in the normally 3 problems, and one is for the virus related problem. So these are the types of data recovery what we can do. Next, logical problem when hard disk detect in the BIOS or device manager and yet you cannot access the data or file, partition or folder or missing. It is probably case 80% logical failure can be solved. Logical errors are very easy because it asks questions, it shows the error, MBR not filed, booting device not found, like that you can solve with this problem. Common failure due to the logical errors. Common failure means what are the problems we can find out in the logical. Failure, a master boot record not found, failure of boot sector, matlab particular C drive partition is not shown, D not shown, E data not shown, like that. Operating system corrupt, so it will not boot up. Partition shows but not access. Partition automatically lost, MBR not shows the partition. Data loss due to virus. Format error message comes, sometimes this is for software also. Your system will not boot, you might have message no boot this device. These all are nowadays this problem come. Not initialize, sometimes these also not initialize. If sector is accessed, then we can recover the data. So these are the common fault due to the logical related problem. These problem we can sort out with the help of softwares. Any software like what we will see RStudio, Get Data Pack, and there is different process. What the condition depend on that, you can use that different softwares. Sometimes there is a user mistake. Instead of formatting D drive, they have formatted the C drive. So you can recover the C drive if suddenly formatted. Deleted files, accident deleted, improper shutdown, these are also due to the user's problems. You can recover the data. Memory card error, formatted memory card, no data shown, these are problems also. We can use same software for memory, SSD, like that we can use the software. We will show you different software and conditions what we can do in these conditions. Okay, so this is your common problem due to the logical. In this topic D1 we will explain about the this only, about the logical recovery. In D2 we go on the PCB level, and D3 we go on the physical, and D4, D5, D6 are the firmware issues. The step by step we go in these 3 portions. So this is a common logical faults. Okay, next. Master boot record GPT failure due to power failure or mostly constantly use of these sectors. It has in bad sectors also. So these file failure of boot sectors, operating system malfunction, these are the common problems due to the software based problem. Second problems are physical problems. Physical problems means hard disk detect in the BIOS or hard disk not spinning, physical problem. There is 2 type of problem, one is a logical problems and one is the logic board sometime burn due to power fluctuation. Data is there, but due to PCB it is not accessing data. So we repair the PCB, then we can access the data through the PCB. So electronic failure usually related to problem the controller board, actual hard disk. The computer may suffer a power spike, electric surge, that will burn the diode or fuse or coil or whatever that. This topic we will see on the D2. In this first we will go on electronics, understand electronics, then we will go the PCB repairing concept. Here we required unlock PCB also in some case. So that we will see on the D2 topic, PCB related problems. Second is the physical related problems that we will see in the D3 module. That is a physical. For that we require the tools. Moving items failure, mechanical hard disk failure are those which develop on the component internal on the hard disk. Means splitter, head, whatever problems is there, we can have to sort. Then we have to recover the data. This is a basic PCB related problems. PCB connection. Here is your SATA connection, 7 pin, PATA 15 pin, the ROM reading, ROM, flash ROM, connecting the head connector. This is your main processors, buffer ICs, spindle motor, coil, and these are the TVS diode, and all those components are here. So this is your PCB idea. Next. Now what are in the electronics failure, what are the problems are there? Hard disk not spin totally dead. When we connect hard disk, the computer not start or hang. Broken power connection, broken data connection, spindle arm failure. We can see the burnet component. Okay, correct, motor or head is damaged, printed circuit board failure, TVS diode blow, PCB damage. These are the problem related. If we open the PCB, there is fuse burn, coil burn, TVS diode burn, 0 ohm resistance open, data track, and all those things problem. We can see the firmware. If we cannot repair the firmware, then we have to buy the donor PCB. We have to buy the donor PCB, same model, same brand, like 2060700, so whatever the number in WD, and Seagate 100, some whatever the number is there, you can find the same donor, and you have to take patient donor and donor, like that. This is our hard disk PCB which is dead, and this we buy another PCB is from the working hard disk. So this ROM we have to swap from here to here and this to here, like that. So we have want the patient ROM to be in the donor ROM, and then we can connect, like that. So you will see this if you buy PCB from the market, how you will do it. So this is also the PCB related problems. If we cannot repair the PCB, then we have to buy the donor PCB of the same PCB number and swap the ROM, then we can use that PCB. We can recover the data. So this is the electronic failure of the logic boards failure. Next we go on the next portions, that is what are the common symptoms of the PCB failure? There is a burning smell, means it is a PCB, 95% PCB. Burnet component, 95% PCB. Does not spin up, not spin up, maybe tick voice, maybe 80% PCB related problem. Disappear from the device manager, running PCB is very hot, maybe PCB damage. Hard disk spin up but not recognized due to these are the problem, maybe wrong serial number on the ROM. Hard disk does not spin up, buzzing sound, maybe 20% PCB related problem, 80% maybe hardware problem. Hard disk clicking wise, sometime maybe due to PCB not giving the proper voltage, that problems comes, or it may be head damage, like that. Very slow reading, sometime due to PCB related. The PCB has some portions in the recovery. What the problem you can identify like this. The PCB related problems. Next we go moving parts. Moving parts means here is your head, this is your parking zone, and here is a small head. You can see the small head here. Okay, here is your IC, one pre-amplifier IC. Here is your pre-amplifier IC. Your arm, sliders, and all those things are there. This is your voice coil. This is a scratches on the plater, head damage and make a scratch on the plater. These are the different type of moving parts. So what are the problem in the movings? There will be tick voice, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 times clicking voice, and motor spin down is the symptoms of head damage. Drive totally not spinning due to the motor damage. Head crash, head damage on the plater. Damage is the plater. Actuator failure, step-head motor failure, spindle motor is jam. More voice from the hard disk, head stuck on the plater, drop, head stuck. Okay, here is one head stuck, and all these problems are due to the PCB related problems. Mechanical failure. Head stuck on the plater means sometimes it is stuck on the plater, so head plater cannot be moved. Dropped hard drive, filter damage, 3.86 or 128 GB it is showing in the Seagate hard disk. Fire damage, electric damage, liquid damage, these all are the mechanical failure. In this condition, we want some basic tools to do the data recovery. So these tools also have from lower range to higher range. If you have a lower tool, its ratio will be lower. If you have a medium tools, then its ratio will be 7%. A higher tools, then it may be go up to 90% accuracy, like that. On main thing, it's physical required experience. There are many tools from lower to higher. The work required experience and high-end tools to perform the accurate work. Failure case in the Seagate is more than other hard disks. Physical replacement on the Seagate is more than WD. WD is very easy, but the Seagate is very hard. Remember, don't open hard disk without tools and equipment and experience also. If you have experience, then do the customer work. Otherwise, do from practice without experience. Okay. So this is the main important topics. Experience required to work, head replacement work and all those things you have to work. Donor required perfectly. We require the donor heads. Donor head means the particular which models is that you have to match. We will see these things on D3 modules, how to match the donor and all those things you can match. These we will see on the D3 module. Also sometime we have to match the head parameters or jog parameters and so on. So that also we have to see. So this is your condition we will see on the D3 conditions. Okay. Next we will go next portions. Now what happened? The firmware issues are there. What are the firmware corruption damage? Hard disk firmware is a software code that controls and is embedded the physical hard drive hardware. Hardware को control करना है. It is for control the hardware. There is a required the firmware. If firmware damage, then it cannot control the hardware. If the firmware of the hard disk become corrupted or unreadable, the computer is often unable to interact with the hard disk. So data will not shown or data will not read. A sector is not accessed. Frequently the data on the disk is fully recovered once the drive has been repaired and reprogrammed. If drive is totally reprogrammed and repaired, the data will fully recovered if all the sector is accessible. What is the common symptoms? The hard disk will spin up when the power on but be incorrect recognized, not recognized at all, not initialized, IO error. These are the firmware related issues are there. Next. Firmware, where is the firmware store? There is a two type of firmware. Firmware of the hard disk modules are divided in two parts. Part 1 is on the PCB flash ROM chip that is located on PCB, contain a small part of the firmware. Its primary role is to spin up the spindle motor and unpack the head. Part 2, but the major large part of the firmware is located inside the drive. It may be on the negative cylinder below 0, that is -1, -2, -3. See, it is on this area. This is your service area where your ROM data is there. In some hard disk it may be on the inner side also, depend on that. In Seagate some new hard disk it will be inside, not outside, but normally before this they have an outside service area locations. So it has a negative cylinder from -1, -2, -3 like that it will be count. So only unique parts are on the ROM and some other part it will give address to read from further parts from here. So part 1 is also important and part 2 is also important. If both part is readable, then the hard disk will detect in the BIOS. Okay, next. What are the firmware related issues? Hard disk spinning but not showing in the BIOS. Head sticking voice, tick 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 voice will be there, maybe due to the firmware if hardware okay. Model number, serial number of the hard disk shows wrong. Sometimes model number is not showing properly or serial number is not showing properly. Due to the firmware corruption, these errors come. Identify fine but fails to read the data or boot up, OS giving IO error. This is also now common problem in USB, Seagate or something hard disk. New hard disk, these problems come, not initialized like that. Hard disk password protection. If it is hard disk password protection and you forget the password, user forget the password, then we can recover with the help of firmware. The firmware's main work is bad sectors, G list, P list, energy list. These are the bad sector defect lists which we can repair and recover the data. Hang on the particular sector, we can skip that particular sectors and recover. Device errors, smart error, partial data access, slow running hard disk, 128 or 3.86 GBs like that portions it will showing. ROM or service area module corruption, unlock ROM service area, these all are the firmware related issues. Sometimes we can repair the error in the firmware repair like continuous busy error, SIM error, LED error, CC error, 3.86 error. There are too many problems are there. These we will see in D4, D5 and D6 module. We will see about these firmware issues. After repair hard disk, we have to head cut. We can recover the one portions of the data. If later head is okay, we can recover this, we can skip this like that. Other things we can zone disable, hard disk repairing also we can use in repair condition also we can use these tools also. So these are the firmware related issues. We can sort out with the firmware issues. We will see on D4, D5, D6 about this. Okay, next. For firmware repair programs, we have different tools. First of all, PC 3000 very number one tools is this, but it very costly. Okay, but for fresher students this is not recommendable, as freshers have no task, more no experience. So if he buys 7 lakh tools, 7 lakh rupees tools, these Indian rupees, then he cannot utilize and support is over, and that problem will come, then this money will be waste if he cannot bear it. So as per my suggestion, you can take starting on the MRT lab tool. It has a down payment of $420 and every month you have to pay $180 as you work on it. So these will be good one. Its accuracy is approximately, I think it will be 50-85%. It work is a 90%, not too much difference. So starting, if you have a good work, good experience, and if you already know all more tasks come, then you take PC 3000. If your budget, no issue. If you have budget issues, then start with the MRT, or second option DFL also is there. DFL also come work like this, 85-84 like that only. Another Salvation very old, now it is not come, Salvation is very old. SEDIV for lower budget, it may be come up to for 60% work as a repair version, it is not recovery. These use as a recovery, these tool come as a recovery, and this only for repair, it cannot recover. Recover you can recover with the other tools, no problem. Then WD Marvel, it's work only on WD, these work on Seagate, WD, Hitachi and all those things. Atoloa, Deep Spar and all those things are the disk copier, it copy disk to disk like that. Some another free small tools are coming, STR, F3 tool and all those things are coming. One DD 3000 is also coming, too many tools are starting, they are selling like that. But the number one is PC 3000, then MRT, then Dolphin, then you go, if low budget you can go SEDIV, only for Seagate, WD Marvel, like that you can go on tools. Okay, we are the reseller of MRT lab. Okay, Indian reseller, we are in MRT lab, we have a notes, materials and all those things, we are in MRT lab. Dolphin, one resellers in India also, here AC PC 3000 also the resellers is there in India, you can buy there also. But if you have a budget issues, then work also and budget, you can take starting with these tools. If you stop, only this much go, not more amount is go. So you can go step by step. So these are the firmware repair tools. Next. Or what is a ransomware virus? Ransomware virus is a hacker who hack your computer and encrypt all your important data. 2 and 1 hexa code is enter and it will encrypt your all the data. So ransomware is a type of malware software that cyber criminal use to hold the people to ransom. Ransom is typically spread through the spear phishing email. It give you one for email, you download it, and then your all the files, whatever the JPG, doc, videos and all those files, it will be encrypt, and he will ask, demand a readme file. He will send, he will leave one readme file in which he demand for the money. If you pay this much money, I will give you the, like that it will be ransomware. So be careful, don't download the unsuspected files or mail or something will be there. You put antivirus as a good one and everything you can do it. A ransomware is there is different type of ransomware. The new ransomware has a no solution till now. Some files they are doing manually encrypt and manually they are doing these things. There are two type of main ransomware, crypto ransomware and locker ransomware. These are the ransomware solution. The extension they are putting after the JPG, after that they are putting some extension. So these are the ransomware solutions. Okay. Thank you. So this is a basic introduction of D2 chapter. Okay, then we will go on the D3 chapter. After this you have some questions answer. You have to clear this question answer and submit it. Okay, thank you.